You got a red pen?
Yeah.
Yep, so. See, Landry's got to do all.
I now call the November 17, 2020 Finance Committee meeting to order at 6:46. Consideration of claims. Chair would entertain a motion for the approval of the
I
claims.
haven't got it up yet. I don't have it yet. Give me a sec here.
Too big of
Too fast, Carla.
a late.
Stand in and make a motion. Madam Chairman, I would move that we pay the consideration of claims in the amount of $169,851.29, payroll and liabilities for 11/6 of 2020 and 11/9 of 2020 in the amount of $207,805.38, for a total of $377,656.67.
Second.
Thank you. Any amendments or discussion on the claims?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Is there anything additional that the committee needs to review or to discuss?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. In that case, this meeting's adjourned.
I now call the November 17, 2020 regular meeting of the Riverton City Council to order at 7 p.m. We have kind of a special opportunity this evening, and take me a minute to explain what we're going to do. Councilwoman Borders is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, but I'd like to call up Celeste Spoonhunter and her group to come up to the microphone, and they're going to, after we do the Pledge of Allegiance, they're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance in Arapaho for us. And when we're done with that, we'll have Councilman Hancock give us the invocation. Let's wait just a second. Celeste, before we start, would you introduce the group that are going to do that for us?
Good evening. This evening I have Jasmine Wildcat and her sister Maddie Wildcat. I'm sorry. And then myself, Celeste Puniter and Tiana Wagon. We work for Fremont County School District 25 as the Cultural Resource Specialists.
Thank you very much. Carla?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, we're going to say it. I'll go ahead and let them read the first line, and I'll repeat in English. Niawana wahani isehi niwahai. I go all out with everyone for the flag. Athana nuhu atana. Where all different people live together here as one. Navesihi hatana nanisiti idan. I support all principles of this one nation. Bahate hita gomu Owani Hunku. God's law for this nation cannot be taken down. We stand as one. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies. We appreciate that.
Heavenly Father, we're grateful for the opportunity to meet here together as a city council with those who are here. We ask that it please bless us that tonight we can be enlightened as to the needs of the city and as to what we can do that will help improve our wonderful community. We thank Thee so very much for the opportunity to live here and to be able to associate with those with whom we associate here. We ask that it please bless those who are sick or injured, that they can be well and that they can recover quickly. And we thank Thee for all those who put in so much work to help out everyone in this city daily, either as city employees or otherwise involved in governance and in serving our fine citizens. We thank Thee very much for the opportunity to serve, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I'd like to thank you, young ladies, and your advisors for the opportunity to come and do the Pledge of Allegiance for us. That means a lot to us, and we appreciate that. It's hard work, and I realize it's not your normal, so thank you very much. You're more than welcome to stay for our meetings because they're a lot of fun. But you won't insult us if you don't. Thanks for coming. Thank you. Appreciate it. Would the city clerk please conduct a roll call?
Yes, Your Honor. Councilman Carla Borders.
Here?
Councilman Tim Hancock.
Here.
Councilman Mike Bailey.
Here.
Councilwoman Rebecca Schatza.
Here.
Councilman Kyle Larson.
Here.
Councilman Corey Rhoda.
Here?
Mayor Richard Gard.
Here. I declare a quorum is present. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
Councilwoman Borders has a motion and Councilwoman Schatza has a second. Council discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Corey, you in?
Yes, Mayor. Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Communication from the floor, citizens' comments. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the council regarding an item that is scheduled for a public hearing will be given the opportunity to speak during that public hearing. Anyone wishing to address the council on any other may speak now. I would ask those individuals who wish to address the council at this time to approach the podium and identify yourself for the record.
My name's Steve Doyle, Mayor, and I'm here on behalf of Fremont Local Foods and the Farmers Market there in the park.
Thanks.
Hear me now, or you want to?
Right now is great. Thank you.
All right, well, shouldn't take more than 5 or 10 minutes. My name is Steve Doyle, and I help run the Wednesday evening farmers market in Cities Park. And I thought it was about time for me to report to y'all how things were going down there. But before I do so, I'd like to reacquaint you with Fremont Local Foods. We run the farmers market, but we also, we've partnered with CWC, some nonprofits in Lander. This thing is some Wyoming lawmakers, and our mission is to rebuild the local food economy in Wind River Basin. It's sort of a big bite, as it turns out. And so the question you should have is like, what did the local food economy look like here in Fremont County? And this comes from a USDA census taken 70 years ago, 1950. 1950, Fremont County had 1,000 farms that produced dairy products, about 1,000 that produced poultry and eggs, 400 farms that produced berries and fruit, and 62 that produced vegetables. 1,000 dairies. I can think of one right now, maybe two. We think it's a big deal. We think we really need to improve on those numbers and increase. We are not at this point, we're waiting for those trucks to come over the mountain to supply our food pantries. And a couple nights ago, I watched that blizzard of 49. You guys ever see it? You probably witnessed it, didn't you?
Yep.
So, yeah. This farmer's market really is a small building block. And that's what we want to do. We want to rebuild the local food economy in Riverton. All right. So, City Park this year, we held 20 markets. Vendors, we averaged about 27 vendors per week, which was 4 more than last year. And our high was about 34 vendors. We averaged 260 customers with a high of about 400. That's not much change from last year, but I think we had some problems with the clicker. We're not getting all the numbers on that. Sales, we do have our arms around that, and it's pretty dramatic. We averaged $3,500 market in sales. That's $1,000 more every week than we did last year. On one day, we had $6,200 in sales. Anyway, we're looking at about $70,000 in sales over the summer. And that does not include the sales made at the farm gate. There's a lot of, meeting customers and building those relationships, but some of the bigger sales go on at the farm rather than our market. I think we're going the right direction. We're working hard to make next year even a little better. So, I want to, just a couple words as it relates to safety, because I know that's a big issue on all of your minds. And early on, working with Tony, we tried various setups to allow for that 6-foot spacing, and we did pretty well. I'll tell you that some vendors wore masks, some customers did, some didn't, but there was really, I think folks were overall really respectful of other people's desires. There was some standoffish and some, hugs. So all that was going on. I hope things went well. Folks remained healthy. We didn't really get hit with anything that we saw that would have caused me to call Tony. Public bathrooms were an issue early on, and we got the connection, understanding the COVID and the public bathrooms. But I think I can speak for about 34 vendors down there that when you need a bathroom facility, you need a bathroom facility. Having it available really helped tremendously. Can't overstate that. Over the course of the year, we made 2 calls to the police. There's a panhandler, and then 2 dudes were about to go to cuffs. Those guys resolved themselves. And on the panhandler, the police were there immediately. Lickety-split, professional, escorted the fellow out. And I tell you, it was great. I was proud to have these guys in our service. And finally, we're changing our market layout to accommodate the growth that we're seeing, and COVID, and pedestrians, trucks, food vendors, and so all of these things. We're really keeping safety in mind. And I'll just bring this one little point up. We have a curb that has all of a sudden become a tripping hazard. Wasn't last year. I'm not sure why it is this year, but it is. So I'll work with Tony. We'll address it and figure out how to make it become less of a hazard. And that's where I'd like to finish. I'd like to thank Tony, because I've been working with Tony directly in resolving a bunch of little issues. It's not coming up to your level, nor should it. We've been able to resolve it. I appreciate that. And I'd like to thank you, Mayor, and this council for allowing us to be there in the city park. I mean, it's perfect. It's a perfect place for us. And, we're really thankful. That's it. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks, Steve. We really do appreciate having you there. And we've worked hard to get you there, and if you need things, we want to help you stay. So $70,000 to our economy is tremendous, and $3,500 a week is unbelievable.
To a large degree, that's food dollars that could be going somewhere else, but are staying right here, circulating around. Yeah, thank you, it is a big deal.
We really do appreciate what you do. It's great education, thank you. Ladies?
Hi, I'm Jaylee Brown. I'm president of our Riverton FFA chapter at the high school.
I'm Katie Fisher, and I'm vice president. And we're here to ask permission to hang flags the week of February 20th to the 27th for FFA week. And that week we usually have a fundraiser, so the flags will be hung in conjunction with that. I'll promote FFA week and our fundraiser. So we would put them up probably February 17th with high school kids and take them down either February 28th or March 1st, whatever date would work better with our members. And we hang them down Main Street and usually a block or two of Federal. So the same as last year, if you guys had them last year, you saw them, so it'd be greatly appreciated.
We really like them, and it's nice to have them. You're going to make her do all the talking?
She pretty much covered it all, yeah. So it'll be, the same as last year. We'll hang them up and, yeah, be appreciated. So, and it's National FFA Week, so it goes all across the nation, not just here in Riverton. So it's a cool week that all our members participate in one way or another. So, yeah.
FFA is getting lots better than when I was in school.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of boys in blue jeans and cowboy boots. So, we appreciate you coming and the work that you do for us to beautify our Main Street, and it really does help, makes a big difference. So thank the guys that do it, and if you need help, let us know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody oppose that, I should ask? Kyle? You oppose?
Excuse me?
Would you oppose that?
No.
Corey, you on?
Yes, Mayor.
Would you oppose that?
No, not at all.
Mike?
Do we need a motion?
Tim?
Not at
Do
all.
we need a motion?
We'll take care of it, Your Honor.
We're good.
You guys gonna have them up the whole week? Just kind of take them up, put them up, take them down daily? Is that what you're gonna do, or just one day, or what?
We will leave them up for the week, and then we'll take them down at the end of it.
Great.
It'll be about 2 weeks, right? From the 17th to the 1st of March.
Yeah, close to 2 weeks. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it covers the whole FFA week.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Anybody else wishing to address us? Seeing none, would the city clerk please read the consent agenda by item only?
Yes, Your Honor. Approval of the minutes, November 3rd, 2020, regular council meeting. Approval of the minutes, November 3rd, 2020, executive session. Approval of the minutes, November 17th, 2020, finance committee meeting. Approval of the finance committee recommendations for November 17th, 2020. Approval of the municipal court report for the month of October 2020. And a replat on Lot 1 of the Larson Family Addition to the City of Riverton, Wyoming, petitioner Diversified Investments, LLC.
Thank you. Are there any items requiring further discussion?
Your Honor, the Finance Committee met earlier this evening and agreed to pay considerations of claims in the amount of $169,851.29, payroll and liabilities for 11/6/2020 and 11/9/2020 in the amount of $207,805.38, for a total of $377,656.67.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda item as presented.
So moved.
Second?
Councilwoman Schatz has the motion and Councilman Larson has the second. Any council discussion?
Your Honor, I would abstain from the Bailey Enterprises items on the Finance Committee report and the replat of Lot 1 of the Larson Family Edition.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Public hearing to consider, for consideration of a public hearing and consideration for sale of property of 5010 Cessna Drive. City Administrator's report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Give me one moment. Somehow this went wonky on me.
That's what happened to me, too.
It did. This is bordering on impressive. All right. I'm going to borrow someone's that works. Thank you, Your Honor. You have before you tonight consideration for the sale of land described as RIW Industrial Lot 1, which is generally denoted as 5010 Cessna Drive. This is one of the industrial lots up by the airport that is owned by the city at this time. The lot is currently listed at $100,000, and the offer to the city is proposed at $92,000. The attached letter that you have, the attached information that you have with the packet actually shows the Realtor's opinion of cost, which is required and is provided, as has been done in the previous sales that you've seen. Additionally, there is a letter from the owner, from the buyer, denoting that they're looking to develop a commercial property for use on that property. All of the notices have been done. This has been through its normal process as we had done before. And at this point, we do recommend approval for the sale as presented. At this time, I believe Ivan is here from Home Source, and I haven't personally met the buyer, so. Yes.
Ivan, is that you back there?
Yes, sir, it is. In the flesh.
Would you like to tell us what you know about this?
Well, Bob came into the office and asked about some properties that might be available for development. So I had shown him the ones at the city, some down on South Railroad, and after probably a week maybe of him mulling it over, he came in and decided to put this offer in, and we drafted it and delivered it, and it's gone through the process, and here we are.
I appreciated your report. It was well done. Your market analysis was
Thank you.
easily read, and it was good information. So thank you for that. The chair would entertain a motion to open a public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Schatza has the motion. Councilman Bailey has the second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. I now declare a public hearing open. The hearing will be conducted in accordance with the state statutes and with other applicable laws. I would ask those individuals wishing to address the council to approach the podium and identify themselves for the record. Seeing there's no one in the audience that wants to speak to us, I would suggest we close. I'd ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Schatza and second by Councilman Bailey. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. The chair would entertain a motion to accept the offer from Rob Dalkater for the purchase of 5010 Cessna Drive in the amount of $92,000.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bailey has the motion. Councilwoman Schatza has the second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. Motion passes. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. We'll try to spend the money really well. How's that? Item 10 is the Edge Committee appointment. City Administrator's report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. At the previous council meeting, appointments for the Edge Committee were completed and approved. Since that time, one of the individuals that was appointed to that committee was elected to the city council for the coming term, and as such, wouldn't be one of the individuals that is assigned to that unless assigned through the process where a council member is the liaison to that particular board. As such, needing to replace that, it is proposed, the appointment is proposed to replace Lindsay Cox with Matt Kugenauer as the alternate for the Edge Committee. Matt was one of the applicants during the first round that was not selected, so we went, again, like we said, back to those, and that appointment, it is recommended to approve that appointment. I do not see Matt anywhere here, but I have spoken with him. He did attend the last meeting in anticipation of this, and I've spoken with him. He's excited to be on that board. I think he'll be a good board member. So, Your Honor, with that, I have nothing else.
Okay. The chair would entertain a motion to accept the mayoral appointment of Matt Kukenauer as the alternate to the Edge Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Schatz has the motion, and Councilwoman Borders has the second. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Rendezvous Balloon Committee request to transfer funds. Deputy City Clerk report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Please.
Mayor and Council, before you tonight are members from the Riverton Rendezvous Committee who are approaching you for your concurrence to transfer funds from the Balloon Envelope Fund to the Riverton Rendezvous Operating Fund for the purchase of a new hot air balloon envelope. So I'm going to turn it over to our balloon pilots, Andy Samuelson and Pat Newlin.
Right.
Hi, Your Honor, members of the council. I'm Andy Samuelson, one of the pilots here in town, and this is Pat Newlin. Yeah, like it says there, we're requesting that we transfer the $13,000 from the balloon envelope fund over to the general fund. Cloud Kisser 3, right now we've got 2 balloons that we're flying, Cloud Kisser 2 and Cloud Kisser 3. And Cloud Kisser 3 over the last couple years has been nearing the end of its life. It's flown for 650 hours, which is an average lifespan for an envelope. We were able to do a porosity test on it at a balloon rally in Hot Springs, South Dakota. And the porosity test showed that it's well overdue and needing to be replaced. It's safe to fly throughout the winter. It's still an annual. With the cooler temperatures, it's within its area of operation there. So we got 6 quotes, however, for replacement, 6 different companies. We, as a committee, selected the Kubitschek. It's a brand out of Czech Republic, and we selected that on the basis of safety. It's got a slide vent, which helps in if there happen to be a high wind situation where we need to land. It's a quick deflation system, which our current balloons don't have, so it'd be an upgrade there. It also has dual turning vents, which can orient the balloon for a safer landing. It just rotates it. Doesn't actually turn the direction of flight, but it rotates the envelope itself. The Kubitschek brand was also selected on quality, reputation, and all of the quotes were of a comparable price. They're all in the same mid 20,000 range. So the price of the balloon would be $24,610 with a approximate shipping cost of $1,500 to be split half between us and half with a dealer who is in Denver, Colorado. So $750 for the shipping. That's an estimate. With the coronavirus, we've experienced a little higher shipping with air, so it'd come by boat. So, you guys have any questions or anything?
I do.
Yes.
As I read through, does I would assume 3 is younger than 2. Cloud Kisser 2 is the older
It
balloon.
is. Cloud Kisser 2, that's a good question. Cloud Kisser 2 is rebuilt, and so they took all the fabric off it, kept the gore lines. Pat usually flies that
That's
balloon.
when I fly, and because the fabric was the only part that was replaced, it had to keep the same aircraft ID number, even though, because of its rebuild, the material is in better shape than Cloud Kisser 3 material. That was in 2013.
Does it go by flights, or is it just the deterioration of the tarp?
Hours is what they calculate the hours of hot inflation. So whether it's stood up or flown or tethered, but it's just it's the deterioration of the fabric is what.
So you have to log that every time you tether it or
Yes.
do anything with it that inflates it, huh?
Yeah, we tether all the hot inflated hours. If we just do a cold inflation for some reason, if we just, if we packed it up wet and want to air it out or something and do a cold inflation, which is just filling it full of cold air with a fan, we wouldn't need to log that, but we do log all the hot inflated hours.
Would it be possible if we could find a local trucker to bring it in? Would we be able to save that $750 or not?
It comes by boat from the Czech Republic over to Florida to the dealer there, who then distributes it from Florida. Is it Tampa? I think it was Tampa. It distributes from Tampa, Florida out to the rest of the United States to all the dealers. So they'll have a whole shipping container full of balloons destined for the United States. We'll actually go and pick it up from our dealer in Denver, and we'll do a hot inflation. We'll do a flight with him for training purposes. There'll be a few little aspects of learning that we'll have to pick up with the new with the turning vents and.
So it's not freight from Denver,
No.
It's just you're going to pick the balloon up in Denver and test fly it there.
Correct. We'll do the actual annual inspection, inspection for quality and safety and for educational purposes as well.
For all those Cadillac features, rotation and the good stuff.
Well, yes, a lot of those come standard with the with numerous brands, but with this one.
Does it have a radio and a cigarette lighter?
No cigarette lighters. No, those aren't allowed. We do carry a radio with us, though.
All right.
Aircraft radio, that is. No listening to music. Well, I suppose you could if you wanted to.
Well, we appreciate what you do. We realize how hard it is.
Or you could run over to Czech Republic and pick it up.
Yeah,
Now that would save us $1,500 there. Yeah.
I'd kind of like to do that, but I don't know that I could save any money doing it. Do they ever manufacture them in the States?
One company. Well, there's a couple companies that we looked into. One is mainly a rebuild company. They take the data stamps off them, but the reputation doesn't. They take the data stamps off them and then rebuild it, but they don't have the best reputation. And I hated to recommend that to the council or to the city as far as a viable choice there. The other one is Firefly balloons, and it was a tough decision between Firefly and Kubitschek. Fireflies are manufactured in North Carolina, and we discussed the benefits of going with Kubitschek over Firefly, which is what we currently, both of our balloons that we have right now are Fireflies. And just the versatility of a Kubitschek for the future of ballooning in Riverton was hands down unanimous for the committee on the decision.
Super. Any other questions? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Mike can go ahead, sorry.
Are we going with the white version or the black version?
Well, I thought I'd get your guys' input on that. White is traditional. Black was kind of a twist that, we just kind of came up, a modern variation, if you will. I'd love to have your guys' input. We've asked everyone from pilots and crew members, members of the community, even some of my fifth grade students.
Well, if we ask the police, it'll be black.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
With a thin blue line flag on the other side.
Yes.
I have a couple of questions. I guess So this is everything that you have, you're talking about completely depleting the envelope for this,
Yes.
which has
Yeah.
been money that you've been saving just for this purpose, right? Where has the money come that's in the envelope fund now?
So the envelope fund comes from all of the money generated from paid rides, as well as tethered rides, and general donations. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. And then, so that's going to deplete that. And then it's also going to take some of the operating funds. So where, I guess, where's the operating fund coming from?
The operating funds come, that's our annual budget. They come from grants. We've got a Fremont County District 25 grant. We've got a TAD grant. And what else?
Sometimes the Fremont County Rec Board.
Yes, sometimes there. The rec board also.
And are things, I guess, looking up? I don't know, is that not a balloon?
Last year, we showed a profit. It was kind of an abnormal year. We had very generous donations for the rally. We had a profit of approximately $20,000.
Okay.
After the rally, some of that was from cutting costs from canceled events, such as the fireworks. We didn't do any competitions or any events to entertain those pilots while they were here, such as get-togethers with food and things like that. So some of that was an abnormal coronavirus, COVID-19, related savings.
So I guess I just want to make sure you've got about 62,000, and this is looking at getting rid of about a little more than a third of that, right? Is that,
Yes.
if you're putting it all together, I guess.
Yeah, 13,000 from the envelope fund, which
Okay.
just set aside for this purpose.
I mean, in theory, I think it sounds great. And if you want to know my vote, I like the black balloons, but that's just me. But I guess my concern is that we're using, this is the envelope fund for it. I'm just worried about using all of that. And then when we have two balloons, I'm like, would it make sense just to wait a little bit until that envelope fund can cover it? And just operate with one balloon right now? Or, tell me a little bit about where that's coming from.
Yeah, we did
decision.
discuss that as a committee, and the tethers are mostly generated with Cloud Kisser 3 right now. Our tether harnesses fit that one better, and so the tether income comes from that balloon. So we decided it would be more beneficial to have both balloons available to, I guess, create income. And we've got some new goals for the future. We haven't been advertising our commercial rides as much as we probably could. So our income has been, I guess, lacking there from those. A lot of people, we have people who contact both of us as pilots just because they hear word of mouth that we fly the balloons and are involved with it. A lot of people don't know who to call or where to go to get a balloon request form, and so we've got to send them to Megan. We've actually reconfigured our advertising, some of our forms, make it easier and more accessible to people. Other people from the community have no idea that you can actually purchase a ride in a balloon. So it's been very enlightening as I've gotten into the piloting the last couple years, and learned a lot, and we're just trying to keep making things better. And we anticipate probably tripling our commercial rides this year with our estimates.
And that would be on both of them, not just, of course, right? Would be both 3 and 2.
Yes.
You do the commercial rides.
Yes.
Okay. But if you just had the one balloon, you could only be doing one for the commercial rides.
That's our idea, yeah. A lot of times on a nice weekends when we've got good weather or when there's events, we've got 2 balloons available to get people up in the air, especially around the rally, and there's a lot of generated interest for rides. Following the rally, we have a lot of requests, and so if we've got 2 balloons that are capable of taking people and generating that income, that'd be beneficial.
just was curious, it's a pretty big chunk of change, so just curious about how things are going with the.
It is. Both lower ends, both the baskets with tanks, hoses, burners, uprights, those are in very good condition. So having a basket, and that was another topic of the committee's discussion there, having a lower end that's just kind of sitting around not being able to be used or generate that income, we thought it was better to invest in a new envelope. At our average of 50 hours a year per balloon, it will, with the Kubitschek estimates of 700 to 1,000 hours for the life of it, would be, 14 to 20 years?
Cool.
So.
And I've seen those quick deflate ones. That's awesome.
Have you? Yeah.
I'm trying to remember which one we had at the last rally, but
some Kubitscheks that you may have seen are the pink camo balloon. It was at the rally this year. What other Kubitscheks would there be? Put you on the spot.
Kubitschek is relatively new as far as some of the balloons. So any of the racer-shaped ones are probably Kubitschek instead of the bulbous ones like we have. So we have a couple racers like that would be Kubitschek.
They're more of a teardrop shape. Some of the special shapes, yeah, they've been kind of an up-and-coming brand in the last 10 years. So.
And that's why it's really more technology new to ballooning and probably more a good envelope for us to look at now instead of the Firefly that we've had for 20 years.
Right.
Yeah, so.
A lot of innovations, a lot of new technology, a lot of those bells and whistles that are kind of included as a standard, just for safety.
Any other questions? I suppose we could all tell you the color that we like, and then you can see, is it hard to keep the Cloud Kisser 2 clean because it's white? Sometimes I've been with you when we land in some pretty tough stuff, so.
Yeah, if it's in a really wet, mucky, you can put a tarp out, and that does save the color. Otherwise, it's not a big factor. It doesn't really claim dirt very easily. As far as white or black, I don't know. I mean, black can show some things up that white doesn't, just depending on what you have.
We could, those of us from the ground could tell 2 from 3 better, couldn't we?
Right.
That was one of the concerns of the crew, is once in a while, if they take their eyes off the balloon while they're driving around, if we happen to switch in the air,
We are
sometimes
looking at putting that new logo on though.
Yeah.
Make a difference.
We
yes,
see that as
it'll have
gorgeous.
2 logos on there, one on either side, so. That'll be
My vote would be for the black. Anybody else want to add?
I like the black, Your Honor, but I think I like the traditional white too. People from all over the country know that is our balloon, so I would stick with white.
Kyle?
I'm with her. White. I like the white a little better just because I think the logo pops better. But I like the idea of having a black one and a white one. I think it does make it a little more unique. So I'm sort of on the fence, so.
Tim?
You could just throw the white in the washing machine, right? That's easy enough. Yeah.
We've got a big washing machine.
Sometimes you can lay it out on the dewy grass up at the college.
It cleans it that way. No, I don't know. I just like the black one. I actually like the black one with the pink for the balloon.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the Riverton doesn't really show up as well on that. That dark blue on the black doesn't just jump out as much as the white on the black. But
Yeah, I think if you went with black, I'd go with the white logo. I think it pops better than the blue logo.
That was one that I kind of had drawn up, and then they accidentally sent me a colored one, and I thought, oh, that's kind of different too. So
Yeah.
they sent me a whole group of them there. So thought I'd include everything they sent.
Carla?
Well, my first instinct was let's go with tradition, but I really like number 11. I do agree that I think the Riverton would look better in white on the black. It's the one with the pink balloon. I think it pops. I think it's really, really cool looking, so.
Yeah, the pink, but if you did the Riverton and white on it, that'd be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Corey, are you there?
I am, Mayor.
Can you see my picture?
Not at all.
Not at all. Yeah. You like black or white?
I would personally, without seeing it, I would say white.
Okay. So at least you got everybody's opinion. There's 7 more problems for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of seems to be the trend is, 50-50 or so.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Not a whole lot of strong feelings about it, but the tradition versus kind of a new twist on it. So, thank you for your.
It would be nice if you could, if the council would have picked the color, but you can blame it on us anyway.
Oh, there you go.
Usually it's our fault.
Oh, yeah.
Probably gonna be the way Andy flies most of the time, so he just wants one that's not as porous as the one that he's flying right now.
Color doesn't concern me very much at all. As long as we've got one that's safe and not as porous. Something I didn't mention is in the heat of the summer there, July and August, we were burning about 30 gallons an hour of propane, whereas Pat would maybe burn 15, 18. So
That much different. Wow.
it's got microscopic holes in it, that porosity, where it's just
Leaks.
heat. Yeah.
Well, you don't get thanks very often, but all of us up here would really like to tell you thanks for the hard work that you do. We realize it just isn't the 24th of July and you pull out your balloon and go to it. And we see you up all the time and we appreciate it. And it's a big deal for Riverton and you need to know that without you two, we probably wouldn't have balloons in the air. So thanks a bunch. Look around and train somebody.
Oh, we will. We've got
Find somebody.
We've got one current student right now. He's working on getting his knowledge test taken care of. He's a recent high school graduate, so
I think
been into ballooning for quite a few years now.
I think 9, he started helping at the rally with some of our pilots.
Yeah.
He's a local boy, and he's just been raised up here in Riverton, going to the balloon rally and helping out.
Pat, how many balloon pilots do we have? Rick Gilpatrick is a pilot or was? Do you have
Oh, local ones? that
local
we had?
pilots? How many do you have?
I've trained Joe Sullivan, is that what you're asking?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Joe Sullivan, Mike Shelley, David Warrington, who's passed away actually from a heart attack years ago. Jenny Holcomb-Rigger, who's moved to Sheridan and bought her own balloon and started a rally up there. And Andy and Steve Scott is a local pilot, not current locally, neither is Mike Shelley actually current right now, but that's 6. I've trained 6 pilots for Riverton.
And so here in Riverton, we've got 2 active pilots, 2 that are inactive, not current. They could get current just with a little sprucing up on their skills, and flight hours with one of us, and then 1 student. So
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
thank you.
The chair would entertain a motion to approve the transfer of $13,000 from the balloon envelope fund to the Riverton Rendezvous operational account for the purchase of a Kubatech air balloon envelope.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Larson has a motion. Councilwoman Schatza has a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Consideration for consulting selection policy. Public Works Director's report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. The policy before you focuses on the selection of engineering, architectural, and survey firms. Currently, the city utilizes a process focusing on qualification-based selection. This process centers on advertising for statements of qualification from firms, the utilization of a selection committee to rank and review these statements of qualification, and then negotiating scopes of work and fee once the most qualified qualified firm has been identified. City Council has directed staff to re-examine this policy and draft a new one, specifically one that allows for a provision in the selection process where price can be considered prior to negotiating a scope of work and contract fee. The qualification-based selection process really originated out of the U.S. Congress in 1972. The Brooks Act was passed, which requires qualification-based selection for architectural and engineering firms. Since the passing of that act, 46 states have adopted similar policies or laws, and many municipalities have as well. In Wyoming, the Professional Architectural Engineering and Land Surveying Services Procurement Act, which is a mouthful, I know, represents Wyoming's requirement in relation to the Brooks Act. Many professional organizations recommend that municipal organizations, I should say, utilize qualification-based selection. This includes the American Public Works Association, the American Water Works Association, the American Council of Engineering Companies, the American Bar Association, and many more on top of that. The policy before you incorporates the principles of the Brooks Act, Wyoming's equivalent of the Brooks Act, and many of the policy statements by these professional organizations. However, it also incorporates council's direction to incorporate price or fee estimate as part of the selection process. Specifically, this new policy proposes that after a selection committee has reviewed and ranked the statements of qualification, staff has the opportunity to either take the top-rated firm from the selection committee to the city council for direction, or to go in another direction and convene an interview committee of a minimum of 3 city staff members to further review the statements of qualification, interview the firms, and as part of the interview process, fee may be utilized as a selection component. From that, the city administrator or designee will bring to the city council the top-rated firm for consideration. Upon direction of the city council, city staff will then negotiate a scope of work and negotiate a final fee with this selected consulting firm. It should be noted that the city works with many federal, state, and other funding agencies, and many of these agencies actually have their own method by which professional services are procured, which basically follow this qualification-based selection process. One example is the Federal Aviation Administration. Their policy states that cost can only be discussed after a consultant has been selected following the qualification process. Therefore, in light of the rules and regulations of various funding agency, this policy allows for the policies and procedures of our funding partners to take precedence over some or the entirety of this policy you're considering tonight. With that, I will stand for any questions, but city staff recommends the city council adopt the professional services selection policy.
The chair would entertain a motion to adopt a professional service selection policy.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bailey has the motion and Councilwoman Borders has the second. Further discussion? Tim?
I guess I was a little bit confused. What's different with what you're proposing here than what we've been doing up until now?
Your Honor, Councilman, the difference really comes on page 5 of the proposed policy, at the bottom of that page. This is where there's an opportunity to consider price prior to coming to the city council for direction to negotiate a scope of work and a fee. You really don't want to negotiate a scope of work and fee until you select the most qualified firm. This policy takes into consideration the possibility that there may be 2 or 3 highly qualified firms to consider, meaning they have very similar rankings and qualification, and therefore, as part of the interview process, we can consider their proposed fee. Unlike a construction project where you have different fees for materials procured, as you know, engineering services or architectural services really center on the hours required to complete the service. I mean, you're not, bidding on different widgets, you're bidding on the amount of time it takes to appropriately engineer a project. So I hope that answers your question, but really it comes in that added step in the selection process where your selection committee still ranks and reviews that firms on the qualification-based process. And then after they set their priorities or they rank those firms, city staff can form an interview committee to further interview the top-ranked firms and consider their submitted fee.
Right.
Mike?
Kyle, so this would obviously not apply on an airport project because we have to follow their guidelines. But on a regular, one of our force committee projects or something like that, that they're gonna have them do design work. So this would make it to where every time, if you had, out of 6 applicants, you had 2 or 3 that were ranked in the top 3, obviously, you could then use cost as one of the factors in the interview process. Because, and again, for people's information, in the past, you have to pick somebody and then see what their price is. You don't get to see what their price is until you're done picking them. And so I think as the city, this puts us as a little bit of a disadvantage where, the number 2 firm on that list, for example, may be considerably cheaper and relatively close qualification-wise. So I think this is a better option and gives us some flexibility and hopefully a way to save the city some money and still get top-quality process completed. And so that's sort of why I think have brought this up and talked about it. And I think it also gives some of the smaller local, not necessarily local, but smaller firms a little better chance of beating out some of the larger firms that have multiple, divisions that do all kinds of different stuff that needs to be done on some of these design projects, a little better chance of being competitive. And, you don't have to be a, NASA to figure out how to do ADA curbs on intersections. That's extreme example, but.
Your Honor, Councilman, you're absolutely correct. This policy would apply for a lot of our 1% projects. And many of our other projects, we would just have to consider if we're receiving any federal funds, or, for example, let's say we're getting funds from the state for a water project. We would probably have to void some portions of this project just so that we can still receive their funds.
Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. We have one other item that Tony passed me that's not on the agenda. Do you want to deal with that, or you want me to?
I can, Your Honor, if you like.
I got the note, but
I might need some reference to it.
I can do it. We have, at this point, coming up on Christmas, we've always had a meal supplied for the city employees to have a banquet and to try to avoid large gatherings. It's been suggested that maybe we would be smart to, instead of doing that, we could purchase hams for the employees and give that as a bonus or a thank you for Christmas. We have 119 employees. This is not a budgeted item, so that's why it's on the table here to discuss. The hams sell for $2.48 a pound, and it's assuming that they're 10-pound ham, And so we're somewhere right around $29.51, $3,000. That's unbudgeted. There are some accounts, and that's probably why Mia didn't come tonight, because she didn't want to explain where we're gonna pilfer the money from. But we would need council approval to move those funds out of the council fund area and a few others that, am I getting this close to right?
Perfect, Your Honor.
So,
We would simply overrun the particular line for council contingency at this point, that amount of money, or what it would cost, approximately that much, maybe less. And then either at the end of the year, like, we would just allocate those funds into that line. So we wouldn't necessarily put it in a different line or take up another line. It would just be there, and you'd see it as an overage for that. But we're not, at this point, we're not concerned about that overage.
so is the council in that 119 count?
Yes, Your Honor.
So maybe we could make the suggestion, I don't need a ham purchased by the city. I could come out of that count. And you said possibly there were some other donations that we were going to try to get.
Yes, Your Honor. What we calculated with that, so we're going to call it 1,000 for the sake of conversation. That's calculated at a particular dollar per pound, and we think that there is a discount to that. And there may be, some of the places do donations to municipalities in terms of price reduction. So we would expect that to be less than that. But in order to bring it to you and say, okay, to be safe, we're going to say approximately $3,000.
Okay,
Your Honor.
Mike?
I guess, so that's roughly $25 per employee range, right? 248 times 10 pounds is 2480.
Well, there's 119 is what's on the,
I guess I would make this suggestion, like the mayor said, some people wouldn't want a ham. I would make the suggestion that we just maybe get some gift card kinds of scenarios.
Your Honor, I
so
don't
that they
believe
can do
we
whatever
can.
they want.
My understanding of that is that we can't do the gift card items. Those are actually called cash value called out for us, so we're restricted. We did have that conversation a little bit.
and,
Okay.
and
Sorry.
so it's about $24.80 if we did all 119 hams to that total. Now, if we got a better price, if Smith's or somebody was really generous, Walmart's been awfully kind to us. If they gave us a special price, we might not achieve that. What we've done in the past, so that the audience knows, they just have a carry-in potluck dinner, and it doesn't cost a whole lot. We usually have it in this room, and they do have some recognition that we'd like to, continue to do that, but it's hard to do without a large group. And so this is one of the ideas put forward. So we do need to get we need a motion and a vote. Is that what you want?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so the chair would ask for a motion to accept the thought of purchasing hams for the employees, if that's something that we want to do.
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion by Councilwoman Borders and a second by Councilman Bailey.
Your Honor,
Yes, ma'am.
I would abstain from a ham as well, if that can help lessen the cost a little bit.
I think we'll find that possible all the way through, but
I'm good with eliminating council. Anybody else have a problem not getting a ham?
you want a ham?
I'm gonna get a ham bag and got it covered.
Kyle?
No.
So the council's throwing their hams back in. But with that said, we still need to vote. Now, we don't have to,
Somebody's
this,
gonna get a bruised one.
yeah. Some of you guys are gonna get one that's been hit once.
Your Honor,
Kyle?
when this carry-in, it was a carry-in dinner originally. And so this is, I mean, it's
for what they've done for us.
I would agree. I don't have any problem at all with the expense. The wonders of government accounting just never cease to amaze me, that we can't give a gift card, but we can give them a $25 ham. It's the same thing, but I get it.
Your Honor, we would like to point out at this point that is not a city policy.
No, I
Well, whose policy
I
is it?
apologize for grouping you with all of the rest of the bureaucrats. I apologize.
So whose policy is it, if we gotta put somebody up against the wall?
That's an IRS policy, Your Honor.
IRS policy? Okay.
So we could give them a car, but we can't give them $25.
A little foolish. So, and I think, Kyle, you're inferring that they do great work for us? And they deserve that? So I think that's Kyle's point, is that the gift is a small reflection in our appreciation for what the city employees do. And so, with that said, if there's no other discussion, the chair would ask for your vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. We're now down to committee reports. Councilman Bailey, would you go first?
Yes, since we've met last, I had the opportunity to go to California and visit my grandson and daughter and son-in-law, which was awesome. And so I did not attend any additional meetings or anything, but we had a great time, and I apologize, I missed the blizzard and windstorm of November of 2020, and so I hated to miss that, but I did, so.
Sure you did.
It's nice to have you back.
Yes, thank you.
So we had discussed, I think, at a previous meeting that we had the volunteers of the year from the rec board, and those were awarded to some individuals named Eric and Tara Carr. So I was really excited to be a part of that. When we were discussing people that would be appropriate for that, they were the first people that came to mind, just with how much they do throughout the community. The rest of the board agreed, I think, pretty unanimously. So they were awarded at the school board meeting. Was this last week? Is it that recent? Was that just last Tuesday?
Oh, no, that's correct.
Yeah. And so I guess they'd received the award for the Volunteers of the Year. They highlighted a couple of things that Eric and Tara Carr have been involved in. The 2020 Rendezvous Beef Roundup, the first time we've been able to do that worked out really well. It was a lot of fun. Co-chairs of the Riverton Rendezvous Balloon Committee, Balloon Rally Committee, Leadership Fremont County. Tara's the current president of Leadership Fremont County. They've been involved with the Rendezvous Games. We had the first walk to end Alzheimer's in July, or was it August? September. I'm way. This whole summer's been weird. It's not even summer anymore.
Been postponed like every couple weeks.
So we had the first walk to end Alzheimer's. They were very involved in that. I think they've hosted exchange students from Rendezvous or from the Rotary Club. Just recently had an exchange student. Volunteers co-founded the Kicking Trash group. King and Queen of the Wild West Winter Carnival. They were Bigs for 3 years with Big Brothers Big Sisters. They do the Wyoming Tour de Taco. So anyway, Eric and Tara are just amazing to have in the community. They're involved in so many different things, and this doesn't even capture it all. And I am very proud of them for getting this recognition. And I just would say there are no two better people that I could think of to receive that recognition at the school board. And I just thought it was amazing because we have the one and only Eric Carr right here, who is here at our meetings every week and is very involved in the community, and as part of not his volunteer work, but as part of his job, which I think most of the city employees would attest to his hard work that he does there every day too. So just wanted to make sure he had some recognition from the council for that, and wanted to note that. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Carla?
Your Honor, of course, the Finance Committee met earlier. That's about the only committee that I've met with in the last couple of weeks. I did want to mention the Community Entry Services Festival of Trees. It's near and dear to my heart. We thought it was going to be canceled this year due to COVID, but we had the Riverton downtowners step up, and they want to make this thing happen. So what we're going to do, it's going to be changed up a little bit. There are going to be wreaths and trees displayed in different businesses around town. And they'll start on December 1st and go through the 18th. And what you'll do is go to the Facebook CES Festival of Trees page, and you can make your beds there. So they'll have pictures of everything. And so, you know, I think it's pretty good adaptation for what we're kind of faced with this year. So that's exciting. If anyone has any questions, if they'd like to make a donation to CES or contribute a tree, they can get a hold of Michelle Luoma up at CES. And her email address is mluoma@ces-usa.com. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Corey, are you still with us?
I am, Mayor. I just have a couple things. I wanted to reiterate Tim and just applaud the cars. They're a huge asset to our community, so thank you to them. I did also want to remind those who do have monies out with the Fremont School District Rec Board, those monies have to be spent by the end of the year, and we will have our grant meeting in January. I apologize, I don't have the date on me. I'll reiterate that again in December. One last thing, I really wanted to applaud Riverton. So the Eagles Hope had the 3 hot water heaters come out that went out pretty close to the same time, and some other issues, and they were needing about, I think it was $3,000, and we had a couple local businesses and organizations really step up and help them get that taken care of. And then at the same time, we had the Riverton Medical District who had their pledge, and I believe they raised like $270,000. And I just thought it was really incredible how Riverton, even in these hard times, is able to come together and really help these organizations and step up for our community. And I was just really moved and impressed by that. So I just wanted to applaud Riverton for their efforts in those. That is all that I have right now, Mayor, and I do apologize for not being present tonight.
We appreciate you phoning in. Get better soon, okay? Kyle.
I will, thank you.
Get better soon. The only committee I attended was the Solid Waste Disposal District over in Lander. They hold their meeting every third Monday of the month. And I felt it was a fine thing of them to award us $80,000. Their only question was, how soon will we get that? And I said I'd find out. So if you'd find out how soon that's going to be, Kyle, what's your guess?
Your Honor, you caught me. I apologize. I was reading up on the policy.
Tub grinder.
Tub grinder. Delivery date, do you have an idea on when that will be back in service for the
Or
solid waste?
they manufactured one at a time?
Your Honor, it is going to be a slow manufacturing process, and we're going to probably see that open up next year.
That's what they estimated.
Yeah. Yes.
Does next year mean January or just sometime next year?
Your Honor, I don't have a specific time on that, but it wouldn't be until at least the next spring, summer
That's the
season.
Second quarter.
Probably a good bet.
Anyway, so they were interested in that because that does save them space. They're healthy. They are continuing on with recycling. The amount of recycling material, because it's so small, the cost is high. If we were recycling lots, it would be lower, like in the 50s or 40s, but it's in $113, $115 a ton when you only have several, you know. So that was it. Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. Rebecca?
Yes, Your Honor. I don't have anything for the committee reports. I just want to say congratulations to Tara and Eric Carr. And listening to all the things that Tim was listing off as he was going, I was thinking, well, and this, and this, and this, and there's still so many things that they do and that they contribute towards the community. And it's just amazing because most people wouldn't even know it. I know every event that I've ever put on, I've reached out to Tara to ask for assistance, whether it's her volunteering their time or something, and there's never been no answer from them. So whether it's them getting a hold of Santa Claus for the tree lighting or just kicking trash on a whim, they're always there. So they were more than deserving. So congratulations, Cars, on that, because I don't think there's anybody in the community that could beat them when it comes to that. So congratulations. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Tony?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a couple items. We did have an Edge Committee meeting this last week for the first time. It's been a pleasure to work with that group. I know we did another appointment tonight, and I had the opportunity to speak about that briefly. The group, I think, is going to work very well together. We would encourage, however, if council has any ideas, questions, concerns, hey, is X, Y, or Z possible? We like those questions right now. We have a little bit of time to research those to get good answers before the real applications show up. We are developing that application process, and it seems to be the will of that group to start having those conversations earlier rather than later in order to work out the bugs. This is a little bit new to us, keeping in mind that only one other county in the entire state actually has this in place. So there's not a lot of, hey, let's go see what so-and-so are doing. And their approach is very different than ours. As such, we would welcome any comments, any questions, any ideas. We're also developing that application to make sure that it's easy to use, application for funding, so anybody who applies, and is asking all the right questions. So as a council, if there are items that you think you would like to know when these things come before you, because ultimately it is council's ability to award those funds, we'd like to let us know. One of the most recent ones that I received is, what other funding are you requesting? When are you going to receive it? It's, what the timeline is. That matters a lot to us, simply because what's the point of awarding something that if we are going to award it, but you can't get this till this time period and they don't line up, then it might not work. A lot of those things have to run together. So any input or thoughts you have, please go ahead and send them on to me, and we'll get them, try to work them into that process. It was just this week we've received some information. The governor presented his amended budget for the biennium and had proposed some cuts. The most notable one that we're looking at is about a 10% cut to direct distribution. So that conversation has been going on a little while. We call that the 105, and it's been 105 for 3 or 4 years, and we've been very appreciative of that, and we've worked very hard to keep it. However, we had no misconception that it was safe, and nothing was really safe, I don't think. That's going to account, so we are expecting a reduction. If I used it just applied to this year, that's a reduction of about $136,000 to our fund, to our funding. But that is just using the base level of what is in our budget. The formula that is in place takes into account smaller communities getting a base number. I don't know how they're going to, at this point, we don't know how they're going to apply it, so that number is not solid. At this point, we believe with sales tax revenue and what has been coming in those, and some of the shortfall, or some of the less expenditures that we've had, we should be able to generally absorb this without a whole lot of panic. It's not ideal, but we will be looking to see how that really affects us. And we're going to have to look at it for the coming year more than anything. But at least we know what we're kind of walking into, and so that helps a little bit. We do have the airport board on Friday if anybody wants to attend. I believe that's here. It's at City Hall. So that'll be this coming Friday. I remind the public that we are advertising for vacancies on different boards. That's in the paper and on our website. If anybody's interested in serving on a board or saying, hey, we think I'd like to be involved in some way, we do have those. There's a lot of vacancies. And there are some that we can appoint you to even that aren't completely full at any given time. And that's not just a tree board. We have engagement committee. We have any number of different boards that could use some help. And it is interesting. We do get some good ones. Your Honor, the last thing I would add is we really appreciated Stephen Doyle, the work that they do for that farmers market, and they do a great job. We did have conversations at the beginning when we were keeping the bathrooms open, then they asked for them to be open, and those did get opened, and we appreciate that. And they have been really good partners and great communicators with us. I would denote two things. One, there is also another farmers market that meets on Saturdays, some of the same people. They use City Hall parking lot, and they have contacted us. They've quit for the year. They've, put up their tents and they're going inside, and we appreciate them, but they also did business. And they've been using our City Hall parking lot for the last 2 years. And they wanted to extend their appreciation to council for the use of that. And they've done a very nice job. They've been great to work with, clean up after themselves, and they're really nice people. They even have what amounts to almost a drive-through. It's kind of neat. But the last thing with that is, if you've been down there, and I think everybody has been down to the farmer's market at one point or another, it's a great, if you see the condition the park is in and how nice it is. And our staff has done just an outstanding job. When those bathrooms got open, that was our people that were opening them and making sure that they were taken care of, and they were. The grass looked beautiful. The sidewalks were clean. It was really nice. And everybody that we talked to said the same thing. So many thanks to Kyle and his team and everybody who was involved with that. I appreciated Steve saying thanks to me, but they really did all the work and they did a great job. So, Your Honor, that's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Tony and I also attended the Riverton Ambassadors Group, and that's another group that's trying to get started to help the Chamber of Commerce, and they've got some groundwork laid, and they've got some board of directors picked, and they're going, and that's going to be a really good group for Riverton. I also have been on the last 5 or 6 weeks, the Fremont County Emergency Management Group has been back on the phone, and we do that. I miss Monday, but Monday and Thursdays, and the numbers are spiking, and I've had a lot of conversation with people that I would encourage people to do your very best to make sure that you're safe and that your families and loved ones are safe. And what you choose to do, you need to do that to the very best of your ability. And so the disease is a real disease, and it does affect people adversely, and we would encourage everyone to do their very best. I'll get back to that in this conversation, but I also had the opportunity to meet with a new surgeon that is thinking of moving to Riverton, and that was a pleasant conversation. I appreciate Sage West for allowing me to sit in on that conversation. I also got to speak to the Kiwanis Club, which I appreciated, and lots of really good, hardworking people in that group, and they do a lot of good things. Tim was there, Kristen was there, Mia was there, Sandy Lures, all top flight people that work for the city, and so I appreciate the work that they do, and to be invited to speak to them is a real honor. Tony and I also sat in with the EDGE committee, which consists of 7 people with 2 alternates, and it was about a 2-hour-long meeting. And there's a lot of groundwork that has to be established there. And what I want to go back over, and maybe sometimes we don't do a good job with that, but even when I was speaking to the Kiwanis Club, lots of times people don't know how the city functions. And that half-cent money does not get in any other fund. It can't buy police cars. It doesn't buy turkeys, hams, whatever we're doing. It has to stay in those funds. And so these individuals will work really hard, and we got some good ideas, and it's going to be a real benefit to the city of Riverton and the county of Fremont County to have those funds. And so I appreciate the taxpayers trusting us again to spend their money well and to make something happen for them. I spent about an hour today with the Department of Justice, and Rose Salamanca called me from Denver, and on the phone was Stephen Fasthorse from the Arapahoe Council, and we had some really specific conversations, and some of them were, am I going to support the closing of Riverton like they have closed the casino and other things? And I had to very pointedly say, no, I can't support that, because when we were sworn in to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Wyoming, which in there very plainly says that people have the right to and the ability to pursue life and liberty. And so my suggestion to all of us, and I realize that the numbers are spiking, I realize that the governor is concerned, I just think we need to be really diligent and conscious of what our choices are. School's back in session. We have lots of young kids at school. I don't think it affects kids very much from the data that we have. I think I worry more about the teachers and the employees of the school district more so than the children. And yet we still have to, and government is famous for making a great big idea and not looking around at how that affects others. And so I was just fortunate today to go to the Trailhead for lunch, and they haven't been open on Tuesdays for a while, and they've changed their policy. They're open, they took their sign down. I should have asked. I think they're open every day, but right next to me was a couple family from the reservation, and the conversation was pointed to the fact that maybe people on the reservation aren't getting treated as well as they should be. And I was able to say, you know, that's not what's happening in Riverton, and I saw that today at lunch. There was no difference between the way I was treated to the way they were treated. And I appreciate those business owners. I appreciate them trying to stay open, trying to pay their employees, trying to keep the economy of Riverton afloat in a very difficult time. And the conversation came up about, do you have to pay your rent or not pay your rent? And, you know, that's a hard subject. It sounds really good if you're the guy paying rent. If you're the guy getting rent, doesn't sound like a really great idea. And so I think lots of times the government doesn't stop and look at the entire landscape. And so we, at least I, will try to side on your individual rights and support your rights to do the things that you would like to do. And that was a good conversation, and we set up a further meeting if Stephen can clear that with his council for the 3rd of December. And Tony always goes with me, and I appreciate Tony's efforts to support me in that, and we'll try to see if we can make those relations work. I did go yesterday evening to the telethon First telethon that I've been to. I know we have one up the college, but this one was for the hospital. And this morning, Vivian sent me an email that said that they did get donations in the excess of $257,300, which is pretty amazing for the city of Riverton. And so I would just like to tell the people of Riverton, I'm always impressed when Stephen comes out and talks to us about the farmer's market. It's impressive to me that we can come together and purchase $3,500 worth of products from each other. And when he starts to talk about, how do we, if we really do have a problem, how do we take care of Fremont County? And it used to be, when I was a boy, the dairy was up on Park, and milk products, there are lots of dairy farms right here in Fremont County. And now our milk comes in from who knows where. And so we need those trucks to be able to get over the pass. And we make rules that make it difficult for them to get gas and lunch and all sorts of things. And so we just got to be conscious of how all of these rules affect everybody. And so I would once again charge everybody with the idea to make sure they stay safe, do smart things, respect others, do not make fun of others or criticize others. They have the same choice what they choose to do. And so I appreciate the city of Riverton, and I've always found it in all my 60-plus years to be a wonderful place to live. And I would thank everybody. I'd thank the council for your efforts, Tony for his efforts, the city staff. I would also like to throw in, with everybody praising Eric, besides all of those things, he's a pretty good golfer. It's nice to have him in our midst, and he's always pushing forward, and so I appreciate, and it's nice to get a little bit of recognition. I realize you don't want that or need it, but it's nice to have that recognition from your peers. And so with that said, if there is no other agenda, we have no executive, correct?
Your Honor.
That's something.
Just really quick, I did have a chance to look at the contract and then coordinate with Brian Eggleston. We're anticipating delivery of the tub grinder in March. However, there is a bit of delay with the engine component on it, but we're looking at least March. That should arrive just in time for the full tub grinding season.
Did I get my Christmas present to have some asphalt on the bike path?
Your Honor, I would say you got 90% of your Christmas present.
All right.
There's still a section that needs to be done. It's a very short section just to the west of Country Club. We're hoping that gets completed next week, but there are a few connections that need to occur before that happens.
Super. Thanks for all your work. If that's all we have and no other comments, we'll stand adjourned at 8:30.